back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. Today's video is geared for those nurse dreamers out there. I am going to be telling you how I got accepted into nursing school. It definitely would have helped me a lot if I knew these tips before I started taking classes. So yeah, it might be a little bit long, but I hope you guys enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's get on with the video. So my tip / recommendation number one is to know what classes that you want to take. I know it's a little bit overwhelming and you probably don't know what to do at this moment, but if you have an idea that you want to be in the medical field, definitely talk to your counselors because they will know what programs are offered at that school. I'm going to start from high school and kind of move towards college. At my school, there was education programs, there was business programs, science programs, and a few more. Since I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, obviously it's going to be towards these science programs. So basically it's just like a set of classes that help you graduate from that program. If your school doesn't have a program, like, don't really worry about that. It's just what my school had. All you have to do is just take as many science classes to get that first exposure to it. Science is definitely important, so I recommend taking anatomy, biochemistry. Those classes are great for getting exposure to the beginning parts of learning about everything. So in college, I actually went to a community college because I thought that was the best decision for me financially and personally. If you go to university, these tips are sort of the same as well. So typically at a community college, you go for 2 years, you finish your prerequisites. Prerequisites are classes that you take before you enter a program. It's like what the school wants out of you. They want you to know so and so. So same with college, I met with a counselor. It's super important to meet with your counselors because they know the programs once again. And at my school, they had a few different programs, so you really want to know what your options are. For example, there's going to be an associate's nursing, a CNA, and a BSN. For now, that's all I'm going to talk about. An associate's is when you get a degree after completing 2 years. A CNA is just a certified nurse assistant. You can take a few classes and become a nurse assistant. And then there's a BSN, which is a bachelor's nursing degree, which is 4 years. It's a little bit confusing, but just know that there's an associate's, there's a CNA, and there's a BSN. Your counselor should have some information on that, and they will give you an advising sheet. I personally want to do the traditional BSN, which is getting a bachelor's degree, so I looked up a few schools around me and I found one that was really good for me. So on that advising sheet, it may be different depending on schools, but there's generally anatomy, chem, microbio, regular bio, and your social electives like psychology, sociology, and other things. So I was lucky enough to be able to complete that in 2 years, but college is not a race. You don't have to hurry, you don't have to finish on time. There is no time limit. If you think that one class is super hard, take your time. I'd rather you earn good grades and know the material other than just trying to get through it as fast as possible and getting out of there. As a nurse, you're going to want to save your patients. You don't want to cheat your way through it. So that's kind of the tip number one. Just know your classes. It's going to help you stay organized. It's going to keep you on track. And sooner or later, you're going to finish your prerequisites, which are the beginning classes. Now, moving on to tip number two. When you're in your classes, you want to make good connections with your professors and your friends. The reason I highly recommend you to make good connections with your teachers is because they are going to be writing your letter of recommendations. So eventually I'm going to lead up to the application, but definitely on the application there's going to be a letter of recommendation section where you have to ask your professor to write a letter for you talking about yourself. Not only is making good connections with your professor good for that, but it's also good for you because you get the help that you need. You can ask them whenever you have problems with anything. It's just all over helpful to you as a student. So tip number three is don't stress too much about your grades. So grades are definitely important. They're part of your GPA that colleges will look at, and for nursing students especially, you will have a separate science GPA to look at. It's definitely not the end of the world if you have a bad GPA. You should still apply, but you should also be a well-rounded person. You should volunteer. You should gain experience in work field or anything of that sort. Get involved with your school. So for me, I volunteered at a local hospital for a little while, so I gained some work experience, and I also work part-time. So it just shows the college that you're involved with other aspects of your life, not just like going to school and like not even doing well. Like, they just want to see you be involved. I've heard stories of people having like amazing grades, great GPA, great test scores, but they didn't work, they didn't do clubs, they didn't volunteer, so they didn't get accepted. So even if your grades are not the greatest, you shouldn't worry, just as long as you get involved, get out there, talk to teachers, and join clubs. Not only are you helping your resume, but you're also exposing yourself to more people, making more connections, and who knows, more things that you like. Now, tip number 4 is go to open houses. The nursing school that you want to go to may have open houses, and I really recommend that because sometimes they give you the application essay question. So when I went to my school's open house, they actually gave you all you needed to know for the application pretty much, so you can get it prepared beforehand and get that out of the way. Sorry, my camera just totally died on me. But yeah, just go to open house. You might learn a lot more about your program and what to expect. Tips/recommendation for 5, going to have to take your TEAS exam. So TEAS is this exam that you take before you go into nursing school. I totally forgot the acronym, but I'm gonna put it right here. TEAS definitely sounds scary because it's like another SAT/ACT that you have to take before you go to college. My recommendation to you is to study at least 1 to 2 months ahead. So they're gonna tell you to study like 6 months ahead, but I feel like that's a little bit excessive. But once you get Anatomy 1 rolling, Anatomy 2 rolling in your classes, you should definitely start studying for the TEAS, because the TEAS is majority science, and that science section is anatomy. So when you're taking anatomy classes, definitely please pay attention, like pay attention. So TEAS will consist of like English, math, science, and grammar. There's booklets that are a ton of help. ATI study guide is helpful, and there's a TEAS secrets or ATI secrets book that's really good. Definitely recommend you to study that beforehand. It's not as bad as you think. You can definitely get through it. Make sure to know when the deadlines for taking the TEAS is and get on top of that. Definitely know when to sign up for your TEAS to give you ample time in case you need to retake it, because sometimes you have to wait like a month before you retake it. But yeah, just give you some ample time to retake your TEAS if you need to. Once you're finished with TEAS and you're finished with your prereqs, now it's time to apply. Be as honest as you can be, and also try to be a little bit more creative with your story. Definitely do not lie. Obviously, that's horrible. But just let your personality shine through. That is pretty much it. Once you apply your application, just believe in yourself, hope for the best, and if you don't make it, no worries, you can try again, and if you do, congratulations. Trust me, after 2 years of doing your prereqs, it flies by. It flies by. It might be overwhelming and hard at first, but just take it one step at a time and you will surely get through it. So that is pretty much it for my video. If you have any more questions, please leave it down in the comments. I hope you have a good school year, good luck, and hope you have a great day, morning, evening, night, wherever you are, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone!